What started as a group of girls stuck sitting in the front row together in PT school became a friendship full of laughs, cries, and of course, endless studying. We wanted to start this podcast to talk about all things PT and share our passion for the profession as well as the trials and tribulations that come with it. We're happy you're here and happy to share.
All right, today we have our boy, Tyson Carney. If you listen to episode 3, he is one of the favorite male Montanans with blonde hair.
Twins here. I've known you guys for my first year in college. The pleasure of knowing you till I was in PT school. But I was an athletic trainer. I did athletic training from 2016 to 2020. That's when I was in school. Since then, I've been practicing in Bismarck, North Dakota as a sports physical therapist. And recently, as of June 30th, I just found out that I passed the board certification examination for a board-certified clinical specialist in sports physical therapy.
Okay, Tyson. Now, tell us the bridge to the SCS. A lot of times, if you're an AT, you may or may not see that people have those two credentials together. Talk us through that.
So, at work, I was talking with my manager at the time when I was deciding what to do, whether it was going to be an OCS or an SCS, and I do cover some sports here and there with athletic training as well. And at Sanford, we already had a couple OCSs. So in my mind, I wanted to go out and do something that was going to benefit me and my athletes and my patients that I had. So I wanted to show that I was a certified specialist within sports physical therapy. So that's why I went that route. Doesn't mean that OCS is bad for sports physical therapy, but it covers a lot of the overall general population as well. Whereas sports physical therapy is more of your sports injuries, your return to play after ACL, your return to throwing after labral surgery, all of that.
Yeah. And remind us, you did not do a residency. You just got the hours on your own, studied, grinded, took the exam.
Yeah. So the exam was March 12th. Funny story about that, actually, that there's 3 prometric testing centers in the state of North Dakota, Fargo, Bismarck, and Minot. But I had to travel all the way to Sheldon, Iowa for my test, which was 10 or 11 hours of drive time, because I messaged the prometric testing site and they said, yeah, we're not offering the SCS test at those facilities this time around. So March 12th is I drove to, or March 11th, I drove to Sheldon, Iowa, took it March 12th, and drove back March 13th. But I started studying probably in September, roughly around my birthday. After my birthday, I said, hey, I need to really sit down, start studying, because this is not going to be fun at all. I spent probably anywhere from 12 to 15 hours a week studying. That's an over-exaggeration. There was other times that I spent like maybe 4. But
to those
anywhere,
odd, Tyson's really smart.
Just smart.
Thank you. I spent probably, I added it up at one time. It was like 600 hours of studying, roughly, give or take 100 or 2. And by the end of it, I'm not going to lie, my brain was fried.
Yeah. Would you have changed it in terms of doing a residency or continuing to do it on your own? I mean, now it's easy to say because you have done it on your own in past, but any thoughts there?
It definitely would have been beneficial to have somebody that had been through the test, to like that exact test, at my side in my dispense, like at a residency. I don't know if I would change anything, just for the fact of I was building a life as well. Like if I didn't become an SCS this time around, I would have done it again. But I got married. I'm in my home, there's no residency of sports physical therapy within where I live. So I personally wouldn't have changed anything, but in different circumstances, I probably would have went the residency route.
Yeah, that makes a big change because I think people forget that residencies aren't just in every town. And like, especially if you live in the Midwest or even like the West, like where are all of the opportunities, especially if you're living in a small town. And so to move to do that is a lot. Yeah. So, but I am curious, I haven't looked to see residency programs in terms of like how much contact hours they have. Like you said, you roughly did about 600 hours. And so it'd be fun to compare with Colin in the future because he's doing an SCS residency right now. Kind of compare his hours with your hours. That would be a fun episode.
I do know that Colin spends a lot of time on the sideline and traveling with his certain teams too.
Yeah.
I always snaps from him coming back from rugby.
Yep. Yeah, he worked with the rugby team, and then do you remember which other team he was with? I don't remember on the top of my head. Sorry, Colin. But yeah, I mean, and also that makes sense since you said that the other clinicians at your job are mostly OCS. In terms of like helping you specifically with the SCS exam could be a little bit more difficult. It might have been easier even if there was just one other clinician there that did the SCS.
I did have somebody that I texted in town that I know had their SCS. They actually gave me their book too. It's out there. I could go grab it. But they gave me their book that they went through residency. So they got FSBPT like program built into their residency, so they had that book too. So I read through it. It went along exactly with my MedBridge courses that I took.
Yeah.
So that was good.
Yeah.
I liked it, but
yeah, that was my next question because Brooke and I have been looking at like the MedBridge courses for specializations, and if you did MedBridge and you thought it was like pretty spot on, if you can be disciplined enough to do it, then like, yeah, shout out to MedBridge,
No, MedBridge was fantastic. I got paid. I didn't get paid. That my membership was paid through work. So I didn't have to shell out $1,000, $1,200 on FSBPT one. But I definitely thought that the MedBridge courses were very good. The one thing that I would say that was not great about them is that they didn't say, hey, dive into literature more. So current literature topics that are going to be tested on those exams, they didn't say, hey, get in your evidence-based practices. They did for one. For lateral ankle sprain, they said, go find your CPG. They actually had a link to it as well. But when I opened it up and it was 100-some pages, we went and did what we got taught and find the best evidence, find the worst evidence, and try to stick as much in your brain as possible with that 100-page paper.
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned that because Brooke and I actually started, well, she got MedBridge for the clinic. Shout out to Brooke. Thanks, Brooke, because she's my boss. And we did a big drive this weekend. We celebrated Patricia's wedding. Shout out to Patricia. But MedBridge has podcasts for CEU hours. And so we listened to two on the way back to Miles City, and one of them was 5 updates for like orthopedics, and he was giving 5 updates of like different CPGs, and he also talked about how like CPGs are 87 to 100 pages long, and his recommendation for trying to digest that was truly just like take it really slowly. And he said, like, in school, they told you not to just read the abstract, but he's like, no, just read it. It's like, just read the summary first pages, and a lot of them have those, like, the images of, like, the quick summaries of, like, A, B, C, D, F evidence. And so it's funny that you mentioned that because I just listened to a podcast and he said it's okay to just look at the summary and then slowly digest it. So, Yeah.
It would be almost impossible to try to remember everything from those. Especially, I do know that the OCS test, because I have talked to somebody that just took it, somebody else that you guys know, David Chavez. He took and passed his OCS, and he said it was a lot of evidence-based practice for that, like for CPGs, for like NEOA, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was also Chavi's birthday, so a lot of shout outs today, guys. Shout out Chavi.
He'll be on the pod one day.
Yes.
But Tyson, because you've taken like 3 major examinations, right? Which one is, granted, our AT boards is a lot different now than when we took it. They have videos and stuff like that, or PT has videos, but
even PT is different though now too.
Which one was the worst? I'm curious.
Oh, no, it's not even close. The SCS test.
Okay.
It wasn't even close.
Thought I'd ask. Just thought I'd ask.
I'll be honest with you. I got out of the test, and I went and sat in my car, and I turned on sad music, and I sat there for 10 minutes before moving. I leaned back, sat there, 10 minutes, turned on NF. That's my sad music I listen to, and then I was like, well, can't change anything now, so let's go.
Yeah. How long of a test exam is it?
You get 7 hours. I did not take 7 hours.
Yeah. Tyson was the first or second to be done with all his exams in school, so not surprised. Yeah.
Yeah. It was 7 hours, and I have the thing listed up for content area. It was 20% foundational knowledge, 5% professional roles responsibility, 30% patient client management model, 35% intervention, and 10% outcomes.
It just reminds me of the 5 athletic training domains.
Yeah.
Hey, I will say, I'm not going to say the actual test question, but there was one that I was like, this is straight from athletic training.
Yeah.
Do you think your AT background helped a lot with your studying for SCS?
Yes, it cut down a lot on studying for like the emergency management aspect of it, because if somebody is taking the SCS test and they hadn't had an athletic training background, that probably would have been a little bit more difficult. I know that there's emergency management courses that physical therapists can take to be like sideline coverage, but the background for athletic training, I went through that and I was like, this is easy. Shout out Ray Hall teaching us emergency management.
Yeah. So that leads to the next question, because I've had a lot of thoughts between OCS and SCS. And a lot of different individuals and mentors, or just like people I've met at CAU courses, have told me that they think I necessarily don't need my SCS because I have an AT background. I do understand. I think it, like, for sure they're like, don't do a residency for my SCS. I think it would have been different. They would have said something different if they were like, oh yeah, just study on your own, get the hours and take it, But most of them were like, not against it, but they're just like, oh, you have AT, why not just do OCS? So what are your thoughts with that? Do you feel like, obviously, like, it fine-tuned things even more? And I don't know, does that change? I don't know. I'm just asking.
Was it worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was worth it for me. So everybody's going to be different. It depends what your goals are. Like, Ange, I haven't sat down with you and talked about what you want to end up doing.
Yeah.
But if your goals are to be more very sports specific, end up with a professional team. I know a lot of professional teams do like the SCS over the OCS, even though you're still a board certified specialist and you will have the athletic training background. But I will say, like, that sport specific injuries that you see, that I see, like post-op ACLs, that's probably 50% of my caseload. Well, I should say knees, and post-op shoulders. I did some OCS courses at the end because I ran out of stuff to study and I was just freaking out. And a lot of it wasn't that. It was more of the general population.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I chose that too.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good insight because I obviously go back and forth, and who knows, maybe I won't be motivated to study by myself anyways.
I think about that on the day.
For your job specifically, do you get any extra benefits for being a board certified specialist?
I do get a raise, indeed.
You get a raise, Bree?
So I have to prove myself worthy of why I would get a raise because of this. So I don't just instantly get a raise. I have to apply, say why, like what else are you going to bring to the table to like help out the organization. Because my organization did pay for they paid 3 days for me to go to Sheldon, Iowa, because they're like, well, you're not going to drive down the day before or the day of and take the test. So they paid time off. I didn't have to take PTO for all 3 days. And they paid for my exam. So that's a lot of money already. Then I have to say what I'm going to do with it to benefit them to then get my raise.
Yeah. And I want to say that my company kind of has like a ladder model thing that you can kind of climb these different ladder rungs to get a raise, but you do have to submit like evidence. For example, I get a little bit of a raise just for being like an athletic trainer as well, but I have to obviously show them my license and that I passed. But other things as well, like my caseload, things like that so if I were to be a board specialist, I have to have a certain percentage of my caseload in that specialty as well.
That makes
sense. The criteria.
Yeah.
Tyson, is there a favorite like sports injury you like working with?
I enjoy working with post-op ACLs, only for the fact of that I get to watch them go from barely being able to walk, not being able to fire their quad. And personally, if they're an athlete and they want me to, I always tell them I'll come back and watch their first game. So I go like in the fall for football, I'll have to go to every single school year. I can't go to all their first games because they're playing at the same time, but I'll be able to go on the sideline because I'll be coverage for them. I'll be volunteer coverage for the team as well. But then I get to go watch them succeed at the sport that they love doing. So I get to see them from absolutely not being able to walk, being able to get back to exactly what they wanted to be.
We are on the countdown of our free Zoom call, so a little bit more than 8 minutes. Any other? Yeah.
You would want to share for someone who maybe is thinking of taking it or, yeah.
Or I have this plug too. Can you tell us what your big goals are too? Is it just for like seeing the patient population you have now, or do you have other things in mind that you want to use it for?
Professional sports?
I have no plans of leaving my job right now. But ever since you guys, like especially the twins, have known me, I've always said I've wanted to be a professional sports physical therapist. But I have no plans right now to leave my job. But to Bree, to your question, what would I say to somebody that's thinking about studying for this? I would say go for it, no matter what. Even if you don't know what you're want to do. So Ange, in your case, you don't know if you want to do OCS or SCS. Dive a little bit deeper. It's July. Like I told you, I didn't start studying until September. Reach out to more people that you trust. And if you get into it and you want to defer a year, you want to not do it, that's okay, because guess what? You did a lot of studying. No matter what you did a lot of studying, and it's only going to benefit the people that you're working with, no matter what. Even if I took this test and I got the letter that says, hey, you failed, it still helped out my people that I'm working with, because I gained knowledge through my studying, and that's all that matters to me, is that it was helping out the people that I was working with.
Yeah. No, I really like that, because MedBridge, I mean, if your employer can like provide that for you, that's just like a really easy like resource to use. So, yeah.
If you're gonna do it with MedBridge, the videos get long. Sit down in a place that, do not bring your phone. Sit down in a place and study. Set aside time that you're like, hey, this is study time. I'm going to put my phone away. Nobody's talking to me. If you're with somebody that you're studying with, that's fine. You can bounce ideas off each other, because I know you guys, all three of you, like to do that more so than me. You guys like to bounce ideas off each other. But it is designated study time, because I will tell, after February, like in February into the beginning of March, it was very difficult for me to like actually pay attention, because I started bringing my phone when I was studying, and I would catch myself after a video like I didn't watch a single minute of that. So then I had to put my phone down, rewatch the whole video, and I didn't add that extra time in my 600-ish hours. But that's what I would say, is put everything away, have a designated area for your studying. Don't be cozied up in a blanket drinking tea or coffee.
Bro, that's Nikki.
Yeah.
I study my best.
Yeah.
Okay, for our last 5 minutes, though, I gotta say, Tyson is married to a beautiful Madison. They were our PT couple, one of them. How is it, as an outpatient, sports med, physical therapist, orthopedics, outpatient, married to an acute care?
So I get a lot of stories from her, because she was like, oh, how was your day? And I'm like, it was good. Like, I didn't have anything too extravagant happen. I had 9 45-minute patients that maybe a couple of them were mean to me. But then she comes home and she expects like this miraculous stories of like what happened, because in her day she had a patient yell at her, throw food at her, somebody fell over, code blue happened, everything. I'm like, wow, your day was a lot more exciting than me. So she gets home and she spends a lot of time talking, just like, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. I'm like, cool, I made fun of a 16-year-old today.
Yeah. No, that's fun, because eventually we're going to have an episode on like patient stories, patient interactions, like, and she's going to be on that episode for sure.
Yeah.
I wanted to be on a call one night when Madison's explaining her day, just to hear Madison's dramatic explanations of everything.
It could be every day that she's working.
She's a storyteller. You best wait, Pod. Like she's a good storyteller. It'll be a good episode. Yeah. Any last things from anybody? Tyson, Bree, Nikki?
Nope.
I know. So Brooke can't be here. She kind of had one question that I think I know the answer of, but I'll ask it anyways. With a specialization, of course, it's also state dependent. You do not get higher reimbursements, correct? Not correct?
I don't believe so.
Yeah.
I don't believe so here.
Yeah.
That, I don't know.
She's no longer getting recording privileges.
Okay. But good thing it's off lever. But what was I going to say? Yeah, well, Brooke, she's big businesswoman now, so she's thinking about all of these things. Yeah, but that was her one question. She does say hi. And eventually, we are hoping to make it to North Dakota to speak to the university we went to sometime, and definitely when that happens, we'll be excited to see you in Madison and Morgan and others in North Dakota, and hopefully hang out.
You didn't say the state correctly. It's North Dakota.
My bad. I'm not North Dakota. I just lived there for 7 years. 8, technically, but yeah. Well, I guess we'll just close it out then.
Yeah, we have just like a minute 40 left, so we'll wrap it up now. And Tyson, thank you again so much for talking to us. Really fun to catch up, especially because you're like the golden boy. We say that in an endearing way. We look up to you, and you're just such a selfless person, even though you're brilliant, you know. So
Self-learning too. Yeah.
I rolled my eyes if nobody saw that.
just
Okay.
a compliment, okay?
Well, I appreciate you, ladies. Tell Brooke I miss her. Miss
Will
all
do.
you.
Miss you guys too.
You.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Stay tuned. Might be a week, might be a month, hopefully soon.